Hello, welcome back to Otter Pop Culture, and today we're going over the albums of the decade. So in this episode, we're going to go over the 2012 and 2013. In each year, we're going to go through the top tens of each year. So in around this time is kind of when we get the reaction to 2010, 2011, where we had like a lot of heavy EP or EDM, and then we kind of move more to sinking deep. Like some of the artists are sinking deeper into it, and some people are actually making their own way. So you get a different people. You get a little more mainstream of like the Scissor sisters, and Miley Cyrus is coming into her own, and so is Selena Gomez, and then you finally meet Lorde. You meet a lot of people, a lot of different genres that they're trying to mix around. And I think that even though EDM is still going strong, you still get a lot of people that are making their own ways. So we're gonna start off with 2012 and kind of go through my top 10 of albums that really spoke to me. So let's get right into it. So the first one is Saint Lucia, When the Night. So when the night came out, well, when a couple of the other singles came out first, I didn't really know who Saint Lucia was. I thought it was one person, that I found out it was multiple people. And his voice is so nice. His voice actually sounds different it actually sounds very more like like it's supposed to be in the 80s, but it landed here, and it's kind of like, it's really nice. Like a lot of their sounds are very more tropical, they kind of mix around with a lot of sounds, a lot of instruments that you don't really hear a lot, and a lot of I guess I could say they are alternative pop in some way, because they still use a lot of the band. They use a lot of instruments like trumpets and stuff like that. But it's their own little section, and I really liked it. I really love When the Night came out. It's just amazing. A lot of them, I'll Wait for Love, When a Nighttime Comes, it's just, they knew how to really make their sound be known. Going number 2 is Kesha, Warrior. So this is around a time where she was definitely into the EDM stuff, and it was perfect for her. She was meant for that. This is after we got into Animal, and we really loved her, so we're a huge fan, and she comes out with Warrior, who even tops, I felt like tops Animal. When you get Die Young and Warrior, the title song, and then you get what's the other one? I didn't really care for it, but Crazy Kids. I didn't really care for that one, but everything else is really nice, and she definitely can hear more of her voice in it. It's not as auto-tuned as Animal was. Number 3, we go into Scissor Sisters, Magic Hour. So Magic Hour actually is the one I feel like was the one that really got Scissor Sisters completely mainstream. I think the queer community kind of kept them to ourselves for a long time, and then finally they've been after Let's Have a Kiki, which was on this album, it just exploded. Everybody wanted to have a Kiki. You couldn't run away from that song. And so coming into this just opened more doors into Scissor Sisters. And I listened to Scissor Sisters before, but some of their old past albums, I didn't really listen to all of it, just had snippets that I knew, but I didn't really know who Scissor Sister was until this album. And this album has so many good bangers, so many good bops. It's really, really good. Number 4 is the Two Bears, Be Strong. So I did not know it came out that year in 2012. I only got into it way later, maybe 2014 or 2015. Because I listened to Bear Hug, and actually no, what really, really got me into them was Looking. Because Looking had, in their very first episode, they had Take a Look Around, which is one of their songs, at the very end. And I was just like, whoa, who's this? What's this sound? I love it. Found them, got into them. And since then, I've been a huge fan. They're one of my favorite DJs, DJ/ duos. I think they're just, if you haven't listened to them, you're completely missing out. They're really great. Numbers 5 is Taylor Swift, Red. So Taylor Swift has, me and her have a very complicated relationship. Um, but I used to hear like people, cause she technically came out in my high school year, and I list like some of my friends would sing her songs, and I kind of was into it, but I didn't really, not, actually I wasn't really into it at all. I just thought like, oh, another country girl singing at school. But I started seeing that things started getting bigger and bigger and bigger as she went on. And then she finally came out with Red, and actually the album I was like, okay, I'm gonna drop everything down and just listen to it. Because I loved We're Never Getting Back Together, and I loved Trouble, and I loved, yeah, I think that was it. Pretty much, 22 was a huge thing that got me into it, because I was getting close to being 22. So it was the same year I was turning, like, 22, so I was getting excited too. So I was just like, it's meant for me, kind of thing. So I listened to the whole album, really, really like it. I feel like it's more honest. I feel like it still gives you a little sample of pop, of what she can do with pop before she went to 1989. And I felt like I don't know, like I felt like it was way less petty than she did after that, when you went to, I just thought it was just so full-rounded album. I think it's my favorite Taylor Swift album of all time. Number 6 is Ellie Goulding, Halcyon. So Halcyon's the story. I already loved Ellie Goulding, and Halcyon was a time where she became officially mainstream. I feel like, because Anything Can Happen came out, and it was so repetitive, but it was so uplifting and so, like, upbeat, and a lot of her, but the downside is that this album is ironically called Halcyon, because it's pretty much very sad. A lot of the songs are very sad. A lot of the songs, like when you go into songs like Joy, whew, it just completely creps your day. But a lot of the vulnerability is what I really loved about it. I thought it was so good. And I love that and this is the time that she was dating Skrillex, so she had a little Skrillex kind of pieces into it too, which is really cool. Number 7 is Rihanna, Unapologetic. Then around this time, since 2010, 2010, since Loud, November was Rihanna's time. Like, every November around this time, you can know, for 3 years, you knew Rihanna was coming out with another album, and we were just worried, like, God, she just shitting out albums every single year like it's nothing, and they're very, very, very special albums. Like, Unapologetic was a huge thing. That's when we found love. Not Throw It Up. What's that song called? I'm gonna put it in under this little thing just so you can see it. But yeah, it's a really, really good album. It's another good album that was just as great as Loud. I think I feel like she just elevated more and more and more. Number 8 is Pink, The Truth About Love. That's actually I loved Pink before, but this definitely got me invested into who she was. I felt like, because I loved Funhouse. Funhouse was the album, but then The Truth About Love really just elevated to more honesty. And then I saw her in concert, and it was just, she was just flipping around like it's nothing, just in the air, and it was amazing. She's a great artist, a great performer, just amazing. Number 9 is Lana Del Rey, Born to Die. This is when we finally get to know who the hell Lana Del Rey is. Lana Del Rey was, she became mainstream because of this album. She was a nice little, lady croner. She had a lot of, very melty songs that you felt like you're just melting away as you're listening to it, but she just had a beautiful voice. I felt like this was the whole album's amazing. Video Games, Born to Die, Summertime Sadness, it's completely, it's a complete mood, but I think it was a mood that we didn't come across before, and it was just so great. And finally, number 10 is Madonna, MDNA. It actually was the last album that I actually paid attention to her. After that, I kind of just I just didn't feel like anything was really picking up. But this was one of the albums that I really really liked. I loved Girls Gone Wild or Girl Gone Wild. Bang Bang was a huge controversial but great remix, like great retelling or like inspiration from Nancy Sinatra's Bang Bang. He shot me down. And I just a really good, like, it's perfect song for it. Summed up the 2012 EDM sound mixed with pop. I think she really brought that in. So yeah, so that is 2012. So let's go into 2013 and let's start with the top one. So the first, or top one, let's start with the first one, which is Selena Gomez, Stars Dance. So this is actually another time that I actually, like, so this is actually the first time that Selena Gomez is Selena Gomez. It's not Selena Gomez in the scene. It's Selena Gomez. So, yeah, so I was paying attention to Selena Gomez in a scene and I thought that's what she was going with. Didn't know that this was just, she cut it apart. But this is a really, really good album because it actually has the Cataracts, and the Cataracts were huge around this time with Dev and everything. And so you can smell that production just from them. And she was in the midst of kind of like her off part of the on and off part of Justin Bieber's and her relationship. And it kind of showed in this. Is a really good album. Number 2 is Miley Cyrus, Bangerz. Oh, Bangerz was so good. Bangerz was the album. It was so good. It just, you got, it was kind of a flip-flop. You got great songs, because she's a great artist, and she has great vocals, and great bangers, and she was also going through she was also on her off part, on her on and off thing with Liam Hemsworth. And so she was really happy about this part. And so they're on her off part, and she really, really showed it. But in the other side of it, there's a lot of, and great party bangers from it too. Number 3 is Rye Woman. So this one is actually a nice toned down, calm. I didn't know who this was, but they came out and I thought it was a woman. I thought it was a woman for the longest time. And so I actually listened to it and I actually saw them perform live on YouTube. And I was like, oh, it's a guy. Wow. And I was amazed by just how his vocal range is just of how he can, his head voice is just insane. And it's a really low key, very relaxed album. It's very nice. Number 4 is Lorde, Heroin. So this is the first time we get into Lorde. So we get into Tennis Court and we get into Royals, and it was like, Royals was a huge thing, was top charted for like a while. And then she also was bringing something that you weren't really, like, that you didn't know that you needed. I think that's a better way of describing 2012 and 2013. They're giving you stuff that you didn't know you needed, but you did, you know? So I felt like we needed Lorde. We didn't know that. And she brought a lot of different sounds. She didn't really rhyme a lot of her songs, but at the same time, she did, like, add a lot of different sounds to it. And I think that album's completely, all the way through, a perfect album. Number 5 is Goldfield's Black Sun. So Goldfields and I have a bit of a history. I actually saw them live like 2008. I think, yeah, and it was literally, they were amazing. They were just they're slowly kind of building themselves up. But I heard some of their music before and I really liked it. And I only heard like 1 or 2 songs. It was a very small venue. Anyway, so this album comes out, amazing. I love them personally. I know they got a bit of a collection when with It's Dark Again, or Dark Again, when Dark Again came out as their single. And I knew a couple friends that were kind of into them, but I was into them. And this album is really, really great with the like tribal sounds, and it really nods to the Aboriginal, like Aboriginal kind of, it seems like, I think they use some of they definitely do, even more into the recent one now. They use a lot of Aboriginal sounds to it, at the same time doing their own sound. Number 6 is One Direction, Midnight Memories. The first time they actually talk about sex-ish. But it's in the way that a pop group bubblegum pop group can talk about it. but it was a time where you got it, and it was a time that I felt like Zayn was actually like just hitting notes because he can, and it was just like it actually was this album that got me into One Direction officially, because then I went backwards to listen to the other stuff, and I went forward, and it's just like I became a One Directioner that year. Number 7 is Justin Timberlake, the 2020 Experience. So 2020 Experience actually was split into 2 halves. So the first one was more of a kind of an R&B direction and smoother sound, with suit and tie, and I'm gonna confuse the two because I keep on thinking of Future Sex Love Sound, but that came out way before. But yeah, it's a really good album. It's perfect. It's one of my favorite albums from him. I think that it was a time right around the time where people were really into him. Number 8 is Macklemore and Ryan Lewis, The Heist. So this was a good album. This is a really good album. We didn't really know who Macklemore was or Ryan Lewis, but they definitely made it known that who they were. Like, Thrift Shop was everywhere. Thrift Shop song was everywhere. You couldn't run away from it either. And Can't Hold Us Down came out, and he just had a really great flow. It was around that time too where, because we had Justin Timberlake doing R&B, we also had him, like, it kind of sprouted out a lot of things for, like, white rappers to kind of come in and do their thing, and it was okay at that time. Like, it's okay now, but like, there wasn't any controversial things for a white guy doing rap, and I think that he easily just completely has flow, great album, had great history about talking about his past. It's a really good album. Number 9 is Lady Gaga, Art Pop. Art Pop is so good. I know that people I know a good handful of gays that didn't really care for it. Like, it wasn't that great, but I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought she dug so deeply into EDM. She's like, you want EDM? Here's a fucking EDM. And she gave you that. She delivered way more EDM than you thought you even needed. And sounds that you even still was doing sounds that people weren't doing yet, that didn't have the balls to go for it, and she still did it. Like, Swine was insane. What was the leading thing? It was Applause. I loved Applause. It took me a while to get into it. I feel like I never really loved her first singles immediately. It always has to grow on me, but once it did, it was amazing. Just a really good album, good EDM album. I loved Gypsy. Gypsy was the best part of the album, and she did her art rave, and which was something that no one has done before. It was really great. And finally we get to Vici, True. So that was a good album too, and I didn't really know who Avicii was until Wake Me Up. And I was like, okay, let me get into him. And so I listened to the whole album. The album's really good. He has great features with great vocals, and the song, and he kind of mixes a little bit of like stomp clap, indie mixed with country, and kind of combines them nicely together so nicely. Yeah, that's a really good album. Anyway, so that's it. So that's 2012 and 2013. Leave a comment below. Tell me which one that if I match with your top 10. If not, like, leave your top 10 in the comment. Let me know your top 10s. I would love to know your snippets of sounds, because I would actually listen to the album too. Yeah, I hope everybody has a great week, and stay tuned for the next one. It's going to be 2014, 2015. And I hope everybody has a great week, and I'll see you guys in the next video.